Okay, it was interesting. We actually ended the mediation about 3.5 hours. So very interested in how you saw it get resolved. So go ahead, give me some, like what do you think? How do you think it went down? How do you think it went down? And go ahead.
Well, I think that, you did a good job of remaining neutral and sharing the value of each offer to both parties. And obviously through the duration, it took some time to get there, but it ended up getting to where I think one of the parties probably was shooting for anyway. But the way that you handled it to gather the information, and just help them see the value and come up with their own terms to talk through it. It was helpful that I think both parties were clearly motivated to resolve it today. But you helped them to just kind of talk it through.
Well,
So,
what do you think about how the attorneys influence the process? To be honest, no names.
well, in this particular instance, I think the plaintiff's attorney probably worked against them. I think based off of how the negotiations were going, the plaintiff's attorney, it from my perspective, it seemed he probably was advocating more for himself, and by what the defense was offering, in retrospect, his client could have gotten more sooner. But it seemed that maybe he was withholding some information that would have been material to know in the tone of the negotiations. But it to me, it just seemed like he was really advocating more to ensure that his fees would be covered. And based on how the negotiations went, his client ended up getting less than I think the defense was willing to offer at first. And because of the stance that he took, the defense clearly showed up in good faith. They went from 0 to,
3,000.
10K off the bat. But based on how he handled it midway, they
Right.
kind of shut down. And even though they still were operating in good faith, they just, it made them reevaluate things in a way that they were less willing to give more. And I think that was just clearly all in how the plaintiff's attorney handled it.
Exactly. And that's when they started bringing in the deductible and other things. So again, sometimes just some attorneys are really aggressive in how they represent things. And if you want to know, and if you understand sort of dynamic, the plaintiff at one point went from being as you noticed it better than I did, she went from being, I'm not going to say first names, but she went from saying, let's say, Harry to Harold. And she switched up hats and was like, what just happened? We were on a trajectory that seemed to be at our midpoint. Remember, his midpoint, he said was 27.5 plus a little bit before, a little bit above it, whatever it was, and he completely went above that and tried to keep them there, and that just teed off the adjuster, and he started playing.
And what wasn't clear to me was, I mean, I definitely saw the tone in the plaintiff herself shift. I don't know if that was from her recognizing what really happened or just being frustrated that this was taking longer. I mean, surely she realized towards the end they were really negotiating pennies in essence. And so she was getting frustrated. And again, she was very motivated to settle today. So
And that's what, and that's sometimes when I usually, all I was trying to do for the plaintiff side is to make sure she was clear as to the decisions that were being made. And also remember, the true plaintiff was the mother that she was interpreting for, right?
correct.
So making sure that are you clear about what's happening right now? That's why, and once I realized that they have their own relationship, I don't want to be the person to interfere. So therefore, I'm not going to be like, here's what bracketing is, and you need to look at this differently. Because remember, it's how we communicate that we have to show, maintain impartiality and neutrality. So I don't want to be, yes, your midpoint is not really reasonable. They're going to stay here, so deal with that. So I said, talk to your attorney. Let your attorney advise you on what that is. But then when I came back, so let me make sure I understand this. You understand that their midpoint was here. Now your midpoint is over there. You're good with understanding that, right? Oh, you are? Okay, then. That's all I have to do. And remember, the attorney was going to walk away. He was walking away. He's like, that's my final offer. But then when he went from Harry to Harold, it was, let's get this done. Stop messing with us. And
Right.
that sometimes is the not. I don't need to do an unfortunate part. That's the reality of negotiations. And when it's not your money, when it's not your house, when it's not you that has to live a certain way. Again, I'm not against the plaintiff side at all. I'm just saying the reality of the dollars and what it means to your everyday does change. And as a mediator, the most difficult part, as you heard me say a few times, is hey, I'm neutral. You guys can resolve it right now or not because it's on you. Smile. It's on you. I'm just trying to show value in what you want.
Yes, you
Which
said
what?
that a lot, and it was apparent. And I think even regardless of how parties felt about how it ended, I think it was clear that they saw value in how you.
And that's why I want all people who are getting into to understand what happened at the end. What did you hear the adjuster and the defense side say? At the end, they were like, we're going to use you. We're
Yeah,
going to use you again. I'm putting you on my list. I'm like,
yeah,
okay, cool, thank you. And it's not about me and I never forced nothing. It's just I kept myself in a constructive, let's get it done attitude without pushing. And that's what they want. They don't want someone that's going to be like, let's be reality, push, push, push. And that is the bad part about what mediation is right now. People are trying to
right.
shove resolutions, shove an agreement down someone's throat because I know better as a mediator. And they always ask me, so what do you think? You've done this more than I have. What do you think? And I'm like, hey, you don't have to be the expert in the room, although the perceived.
Right.
You have to be the expert in the condition, the human condition, how they negotiate, the dynamic of attorney-client relationships, and how you can navigate that. That's how you get people to where they want to get to. And and at the end, like I said, more than once or twice, hey, if you it's an impasse, hey, you tried. Good job. High fives, high fives, high fives, high fives. So,
Well,
okay then. So thank you. That was fun.
thank you for allowing me to observe it. I appreciate it.
All right.